Your brand new iPhone deserves the best protection, and the iLume 3-Pack Screen Protector Plus 3-Pack Camera Lens Protector has you covered. Don't take risks with your iPhone. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Lockdown legacy of anxiety for 2 million young adults. More than 2 million children suffered a decline in their mental health since lockdown, a new study reveals. The research, to mark the 5th anniversary since the first COVID lockdown, highlights the devastating mental health toll on youngsters who lived through COVID and lockdown measures. Commissioned by Clinical Partners, one of the UK's leading mental health service providers, the research exposes a mental health crisis now gripping the COVID generation. It reveals an estimated 2.3 million young adults, 18-25, in the UK have suffered a decline in their mental health since the pandemic, with 37% saying they feel worse off than before lockdown. It came as a separate study found a 52% rise in young people waiting more than a year for mental health support. The analysis of government data by the charity Young Minds showed 78,577 children and teens referred to child and adolescent mental health services during the last full financial year had faced 12-month delays, with 34,191 waiting more than 2 years. The figures reveal the average wait for treatment now stands at 392 days, while 171,134 referrals were closed before help was given. Anxiety remains the most diagnosed condition. The research from Clinical Partners, based on a survey of 2,000, also found the consequences of COVID-19 extend beyond mental health. Half of young adults, 51%, report increased anxiety in the workplace, and 40% believe the pandemic has hindered their career progression. 1 in 5, 38%, also feel their pandemic-era qualifications are undervalued by employers. Socially, 31% of 18-25-year-olds say they have less of a social life since COVID, and 23% feel disconnected from the person they were before lockdown. 1 in 5, 22%, still reflect on the key life experiences they missed due to the pandemic. The data also highlights a trend of social withdrawal, with over a third of young women, 37%, reporting that they now spend time alone to manage their mental health. This isolating behavior reinforces the need for accessible mental health support. 1 in 5, 19%, young people say they have turned to smoking and vaping, and 1 in 10, 10%, have used alcohol as coping mechanisms for their mental health issues. Although 15% of young people have accessed therapy, barriers to seeking professional support include long waiting times, 30%, fear of judgment, 28%, and uncertainty about where to turn, 20%. Darcy Noonan, 19, from Bournemouth, who was 15 when lockdown began, says the lockdown effects have been profound. She said, "I always struggled with depression, but lockdown intensified my mental health issues and made it difficult to maintain friendships. I developed a fear of leaving the house. Online learning was a challenge. I couldn't engage with my teachers, and I didn't feel I could ask for help. Since the pandemic, I've struggled to maintain stable employment, adapt to work environments, and build friendships. I still feel isolated at times and often wonder where I'd be if COVID hadn't happened. Although I had low moods before lockdown, being unable to use my usual coping mechanisms, such as socializing or going for long walks, just intensified these feelings. People expected young people to bounce back, but clearly this hasn't happened for so many of us. The knock-on effect of lockdown and online school has affected my whole life. We use your sign-up to provide content in ways you've consented to and to improve our understanding of you. This may include adverts from us and third parties based on our understanding. You can unsubscribe at any time. Read our privacy policy." Dr. Andrea Pickering, Clinical Director of Psychological Therapy at Clinical, comments, "We are seeing a generation still struggling to move forward, yet many feel unable to reach out for the support they so desperately need. Long waiting lists, fear of being judged, and simply not knowing where to turn are leaving young people to suffer in silence." She added, "Parents have also felt the strain of helping their children adjust. Nearly 6 in 10, 58%, parents say they found it difficult to support their child's transition back to normal life, while almost a quarter, 24% feel guilty about the experiences their children missed due to the pandemic. Additionally, 1 in 4 parents, 24%, report that their own mental health has been negatively impacted since COVID-19. The impact of the pandemic on young people and their families is a national concern that requires a collective response. Professional services such as GPs, therapy, and counseling are vital. Charities like Young Minds and Samaritans also provide crucial support through helplines, peer networks, and online resources. Schools and universities offer counseling and well-being services, and workplaces are increasingly recognizing the importance of mental health support. No one should face these challenges alone, and ensuring support is visible and accessible remains a priority. For more information and resources, visit www.clinicalpartners.co.uk. Don't miss. The lost generation are bunking off school. Says James Whale latest. We feel like our degrees didn't exist. Say COVID generation of students latest. Pandemic threatens to scar young people as 23% say they won't recover latest. Government to give £24M catch-up fund for generation lockdown latest. Parenting experts call for extra help for COVID generation latest. COVID generation could miss out on top university places latest. Lockdown, lost generation of young people feel helpless latest. Students are a lost generation, says commentator YASMIN Alan AJAR latest. We must continue to expand mental health services. Nadine Dorey's latest. Schools will simply lie over A-levels. We are the cheated generation latest. Generation lockdown. Teen Pen's heartbreaking letter to PM latest. Boris vows to free generation lockdown. There are no limits to what why latest. We must save generation lockdown from a bleak, hopeless future latest. Pressures of lockdown have hit Generation Z the hardest. Study finds latest.